before you took your first breath, before your fingers curled around a mother's warmth, before your name was ever spoken, there was a silence, not a silence of absence, but of waiting. A silence filled with awareness, with intention, with longing, not yours, but someone else's. A soul watching, hovering, not dead, not alive, just waiting. You've heard stories of past lives, of souls returning, learning, healing, but what about the ones that never came? The souls who never crossed the threshold into breath. The ones who chose, or were chosen, to remain in the space before life. They are not forgotten. They are not lost. They are not less real than you. They are the unborn, and they are listening. Right now, somewhere in the stillness beyond sound, a soul exists whose name was never spoken, whose cradle was never rocked, whose heartbeat was never heard on a screen. And yet, that soul feels. It aches. It dreams. It has seen the shape of this world, but not yet entered. Have you ever felt the presence of someone you've never met? A gentle ache in your chest for no reason. A name in your dreams that doesn't belong to anyone. An emotion that floods you when there's no memory to match. Perhaps you weren't imagining it. Perhaps something ancient is remembering you. In the hidden maps of spiritual cosmology, there exists a realm that few ever speak of. A place not meant for the living or the dead, but for those in between. Not purgatory, not limbo, but a luminous womb of divine waiting. A space where unborn souls gather, not as punishment, but as promise. These are not blank slates. They are not empty. They are not potential. They are real, conscious, wise, and still unfinished. Some have chosen the waiting. Others have been asked to. Some are afraid. Some are not yet ready. And some were simply not meant to come. Not yet. Not here. And still, they watch. They hover in the currents of spirit like fireflies outside a window. Sometimes they choose to touch you, not with fingers, but with feeling. A flicker of warmth when you pray for no one. A gentle pull to look out the window at nothing. A sudden tenderness when you hear a lullaby you've never sung. These are not accidents. The unborn are not passive. They are not asleep. They are waiting with open eyes. Some were meant to be your children. Some your teachers. Some the love you never met, but felt across dreams. Not all will enter this life, but all have shaped it. What if I told you there are souls who chose you before you ever took shape? Souls who circled your life like moons, but never descended. They are still with you. You feel them in the pauses. You hear them in the music that moves you for reasons you cannot explain. Some have been waiting for centuries, not out of punishment, but because eternity has its own rhythm, its own breath, its own divine pacing. In the great spiral of time, not every soul incarnates. Some remain observers, some healers, some wanderers of the interworld. Not broken, not denied, just dwelling in the luminous stillness between choice and incarnation. They gather in a plane the mystics once called the hallway of the unborn. It is not dark, it is not cold. It hums with a peace so pure, it hurts. It is the place where intention gathers, where stories begin, where souls wait not just to be born, but to be known. Some of these souls once stood at the edge, ready to leap into life, and then turned back. Because a parent's vibration shifted, because the earth trembled, because a karmic thread was not yet untangled. And so they paused, not gone, just paused. And some simply chose to remain watchers, to weave into the dreams of others, to cradle the unborn with them, to whisper wisdom into the womb of the world without ever entering it. Have you ever felt like someone was waiting for you in a life that hasn't happened yet? Maybe they are. And maybe, just maybe, you are not alone in your wondering. There are souls that have always felt like shadows of memory, not forgotten, but never lived. They are not ghosts. They are preludes. They are poetry that never needed to become prose. And they are sacred. You are watching this video not by chance. There is something inside you that already knows. Something ancient that recognizes this truth, even if your mind cannot explain it. There is a soul that once considered coming through you, or to you, or for you. And their silence is not absence. It is music you haven't yet learned how to hear. So let us begin, not with answers, but with reverence. Because what you're about to discover will not just explain the unborn. It may awaken the part of you that remembers being one of them. To understand the unborn, we must first remember the soul's origin, not as an idea, not as a metaphor, but as a spark from the deepest silence within God. Before time was shaped into hours, before gravity pulled stars into form, there was only presence. From that presence emerged awareness. From awareness, longing. And from longing, you. Every soul begins in that sacred breath, not with a scream, not with movement, but with a knowing. Not all souls come rushing into form. Some linger in the presence longer. They observe. They listen. They absorb the music of existence before ever stepping into the storm of it. You see, incarnation is not the beginning. It is an initiation. To incarnate is to fall into density, to forget who you are, to feel pain, hunger, separation, and love so overwhelming it cracks open the soul. Not every soul is ready for that. Not every soul is called into it right away. And some are never meant to walk through that gate in this cycle at all. In the ancient scrolls of Kabbalah, they are referred to as souls in potential. In Vedic texts, as unmanifested Atman. In esoteric Christianity, they are breath before word. Each tradition names them differently, but all agree on one truth. There are souls who remain behind the veil, not because they are lesser, but because they are keepers of something sacred. Some are still becoming. Like stars coalescing in a nebula, their identity not yet distinct from the source. They are consciousness in a womb of light, not yet born, not yet self, but alive in the making. Others are formed, radiant and aware, but waiting for alignment, for the right moment, for the right world. You may wonder, what holds them back? Sometimes it's Earth itself. Our planet, like a living being, has its own pulse, its own vibration. And some souls are simply too light, too crystalline, to be born into a world still learning to hold its own shadow. So they wait, not out of fear, but reverence. They wait until the collective rises enough to receive them, until families open, until wounds close, until portals unlock. These souls do not wait idly in the spaces between lives, in the luminous realms where time folds in on itself. The unborn study. Yes, study. Not with books or lectures, but with vibration, with memory, with vision. They learn what it means to feel without yet feeling. They listen to the grief of those on earth. They observe betrayal, wonder, birth, war, music, loneliness, forgiveness. Like a symphony they have not yet played, but are destined to one day perform. There are halls in these upper planes, not made of walls or light, but of intention. There, unborn souls gather. They watch your world. They feel the ache of it. They see the love you offer without reason, and they weep. because they remember the echo of that same love in the beginning. Some of them, they long for you, not just to be born through you, but to be born to you. Future children, future teachers, future soulmates, hovering, listening, waiting for the breathless moment when vibration aligns with choice. Have you ever felt them? The phantom child in your dreams? The imagined voice whispering your name when you're alone in stillness? The inexplicable tears when walking through a nursery, even if you've never held a child of your own? You're not imagining that. Some souls orbit your field for years, even decades, before the circumstances arrive for incarnation, and some never come. Not because something went wrong, but because that was their gift. To remain unseen, but not unfelt. To awaken something in you by never being born. You may not know their name, but they know yours. In rare moments, they reach through the veil, not with force, but with presence. They ride the edges of your prayers, the silence between your thoughts, the soft glow behind your intuition. They are the ones who give you goosebumps for no reason, the ones who nudge your hand toward a journal at 3 a.m., the ones who make you weep for a story that hasn't happened yet, but already lives in you. Their love is ancient. It is not needy, not desperate. It is patient, like a river waiting to become rain. They wait not just to enter life, but to see if you will awaken, to see if you'll notice them, to see if you'll remember that some of the most important presences in your life have not, and may never, have bodies. And yet they shape your path. They shape your heart. They shape the silence between your words. In the sacred architecture of reality, even the unborn are written into the story. Their absence is a form of presence. Their silence, a kind of guidance. They are not ghosts. They are not failed lives. They are keepers of becoming. And when the time comes, if it comes, they will descend. Not as strangers, but as souls you've always known. You've felt them. In the quiet between two thoughts, in that fleeting moment just before sleep, when your mind drifts beyond reason and the soul begins to remember. A presence, software, unseen, but deeply familiar. You didn't hear them speak, but something inside you responded. A gentle ache in your chest, a sudden shiver, a name in your mind that you've never spoken aloud. These are not random. They are echoes of a soul who has never taken form, but still walks beside you. Unborn souls do not need bodies to touch your life. They vibrate on a frequency more subtle than sound, but more intimate than language. You feel them in your dreams. Have you ever met a stranger in sleep? Someone who knew you without introduction, whose gaze undid you, whose presence made you weep upon waking. Some dreams are not dreams. They are reunions. Across the veil, where time folds and souls remember, the unborn reach for us. They do not knock. They do not scream. They simply appear when your heart is open enough and your mind quiet enough to feel their whisper. Sometimes they show up as children you don't recognize, but feel fiercely protective of. Sometimes as companions who feel ancient, as if they've waited lifetimes to find you. Sometimes just as light, soft and unformed, but unmistakably real. And when you wake, the world feels different. You don't know why, but something has shifted. That's how they touch you, not with words, but with remembering. These souls, the ones who hover but do not arrive, are not passive observers. They are energetic presences woven into your life with exquisite precision. They may not walk the earth, but they walk with you. You might feel them during moments of deep emotion, when grief cracks your chest open, or when joy floods you so fully that it aches. In those heightened states, your vibration rises, and theirs draws near. You are closer than you think. Some of them are your future children, not in a biological sense alone, but in soul connection. They may or may not come through your body, but their bond to you is already written. They circle you in quiet moments. They bless your steps with unseen protection. They listen to your music. They linger near your pillow when you cry. And when the moment is right, they begin to prepare the way. How? By moving energy. By calling synchronicities into your life. By shifting the emotional currents around you until you start to sense their presence, even without knowing why. Have you noticed the name that keeps appearing in books, dreams, or on random signs? A thought that won't leave. A gentle pulse towards something that hasn't happened yet, but feels inevitable. Sometimes that's them, preparing you, not for their arrival, but for your awakening. Because when you awaken, you become a bridge. And even if they never incarnate, they can fulfill part of their purpose through you. Some souls do not come to live life as we know it. They come to influence it from beyond. Like wind moving through trees, they stir something invisible but unmistakable. They whisper truths into the hearts of poets. They send guidance through the hands of healers. They inspire art, prayer, and choices that change entire destinies. They are not missing. They are simply woven into life in ways most people are not taught to recognize. And yet, some do feel them, so strongly it leaves an imprint. You may have met someone who grieves a child never born, not through loss, but through presence. They speak of a soul they never met as if they know them. They describe dreams, signs, a bond that can't be explained. This is not madness, it's memory. A soul once chose to be near, not to come through, but to be with. And that bond is not broken just because incarnation never occurred. In fact, some of the deepest soul connections you've ever felt are with beings who have never taken form. They are the ones who inspire without demanding, who love without needing, who guide without speaking. Not all soulmates enter your life as people. Some enter as presence and remain as vibration. When you meditate and your heart expands beyond your body, they come closer. When you journal and words arrive that don't feel like yours, perhaps they are not. When you feel love that has no object, grief with no memory, or joy that comes out of nowhere, perhaps you are in communion with one of them. And here's the sacred mystery. Just as they feel you can feel them. You can speak to them. Not in ritual, not in performance, but in stillness. Whisper their name, even if you do not know it. Write to them. Welcome them in your thoughts, not to summon, but to remember. The veil is not as thick as it once was. More people are waking up. More hearts are softening, and the bridge between realms is growing more alive. You are part of that bridge. And when you remember the unborn, when you make space for the soul that hasn't arrived, you awaken something timeless within you. Because maybe long ago, you were one of them. And maybe your remembering is their invitation to be seen at last. There's a place that exists between breath and body, between the echo of God's voice and the first cry of life. A threshold, a silence that holds multitudes. It is not a location. It has no sky. It cannot be mapped, but it can be felt. The mystics called it the Interworld. It is not where souls go after death. It is not where spirits wait in punishment or limbo. This place is older than endings, because it is made of beginnings. Here, unborn souls gather, not as ghosts, not as shadows, but as flames not yet struck. Pure presence, alive, aware, yet untouched by gravity, time, or skin. The interworld is not empty, it is luminous. Soft with color the eye can't name, filled with sounds the ears cannot hear, but the heart remembers. It is a space of becoming. A school for souls who have never walked the earth, but have always watched it. Here, souls are not idle. They do not wait in silence or stillness. They learn, they prepare. They are formed by something deeper than experience. They are formed by observation, longing, intention. Within this space, there are no calendars, no clocks. Time moves like breath, slow, circular, sacred. A soul may remain in the interworld for what seems like eternity, but nothing is lost, because in that space, every moment ripens. Have you ever sensed that something in your life was moving slowly because the world wasn't ready yet? Because you weren't ready yet? The unborn soul understands this waiting, not as delay, but as design. Some souls in the interworld are newly formed, fresh from the source. They shimmer like stardust, innocent, curious, watching. Others are old, ancient flames who have chosen again and again to remain in the formless, not because they fear life, but because they carry a role outside of incarnation. These are the watchers, the witnesses, the keepers of vibration. They do not walk the earth, but they walk with it. They sit in councils of unseen wisdom. They study the unfolding of human evolution. They whisper to the earth's energy, adjusting, guiding, harmonizing. They are the architects of possibility. And some are waiting for you to awaken, to soften, to remember. Because not all bonds are formed in flesh. Some are older than memory, older than this lifetime. The interworld is also where souls go to heal before their first descent. Because to be born, to enter the veil of forgetfulness, requires a courage few remember once they arrive. Imagine knowing you must step into density, into heartbreak, hunger, silence, loss, and still choose it. This is why so many unborn souls remain on the edge. It is not cowardice, it is reverence. And some are still forming their center. They are learning how to carry selfhood, how to hold identity without body, purpose without timeline. You see, the soul is not simply a spark. It is a consciousness that must stabilize before it can embody. If it comes too early, the weight of the physical plane can fracture it. So it waits, it strengthens, and in that weight, it becomes something luminous. This is why ancient teachings never rushed the soul. They honored the interworld as a womb of spirit. Not all souls that dwell there will choose incarnation. Some complete their mission from that space alone. They send wisdom through dreams. They stabilize the energy of certain families. They act as guardians for others who do cross over. And then, there are the moments when a soul decides. It happens like a breath, like a star collapsing into gravity. A soul begins to feel the pull, a specific life, a specific womb, a specific moment. It is not random, the stars align, the earth pulses in welcome. Two humans unknowingly shift their energy, and a gate opens. Not all souls step through immediately. Some stand at the edge, feeling the earth's heaviness, its brilliance, its heartbreak. And then, in complete freedom, they choose to leap, to become, to fall into form. But many remain behind, not out of failure, but because their role is not to walk the earth, but to hold it, to sing its music before the musicians arrive, to feel its ache before the healers are born. to know its pain without naming it. And in that knowing, they bless it. The interworld is not a forgotten place. It is a holy threshold, a gathering space of pre-incarnational memory, a temple where souls pray for their own becoming. And perhaps you have been there. Perhaps that place still lingers in your dreams, in your yearning, in the quiet recognition you sometimes feel when looking at the night sky. A strange, sweet ache, like homesickness for a place that never had a name. That's the memory of the interworld, the memory of what you were before you became who you are. And if that memory stirs now, if your breath catches, if your heart feels heavier and lighter at once, it is not coincidence. It is a soul, still waiting, still remembering, still loving you from beyond the veil. Even the ones who never come, they still shape the world. You cannot see them, but their vibration moves through it. Like wind before the storm, like music before sound, they are the formless presence that stirs what is yet to be. You may think that only the living create change, that only breath and blood can shift destiny. But the unborn, they move through energy, not matter. They are not outside life. They are its quiet architects. Have you ever noticed a moment when the world seemed to pulse, as if something was about to emerge? A shift in the collective mood, a silence before awakening. The world holds its breath and then something opens. Often that's them, souls who have not come, but have circled close enough to touch the collective field. When they gather near, Earth feels it. You feel it. A strange stillness, a quickening, a question blooming in your chest that has no words. These are not fantasies. They are ripples from a deeper sea. The unborn are deeply linked to evolution, not just individual, but planetary. They do not wait selfishly. They are not idle passengers. They are messengers, sensitive to the rising or falling vibration of the human field. When wars erupt, when the earth trembles, when humanity forgets itself, some of these souls pull back, not in judgment, in protection. They know that to enter now would be to fracture too soon. But when the world begins to awaken, when a prayer reaches a stranger, when a family forgives, when a healer is born in the middle of a city that forgot how to love, then something changes. The portal opens, and a soul who's been waiting for lifetimes draws closer. Some of the most powerful waves of transformation have come through those who once lingered in that space. There are children being born today whose energy was once so rare, the earth couldn't hold it. But now it can, because you held it, because you remembered them. The unborn are not waiting for miracles. They are the miracle. And sometimes their entire purpose is to shape yours. Not all of them come as children. Some appear through moments, encounters, dreams, a spark of wisdom you never studied, a sudden peace that has no reason. They do not need bodies to teach you how to feel again. And yet, for some, the longing to cross has grown deep. There comes a time when a soul at the threshold must choose to leap into skin, to forget what it was, to suffer, to love, to live. It is not easy. The soul weeps at the edge because it knows what it will lose, the memory, the wholeness, the nearness to the divine, but it also knows what it will gain: touch, voice, laughter, a chance to make God visible. And so it jumps from the sacred silence of the interworld into the pulse of flesh and time. And when it does, you might feel it. A breath taken deeper than usual, a warmth in your womb, a sudden tear that has no pain in it, only presence. In that moment, A soul has crossed, and the universe sings, but not all will choose to come, and that too is sacred. There are souls whose entire mission was to hold the field open, to love from afar, to protect from the unseen, to remind you, you are never alone. Some of them are with you now, not behind you, not above you, with you. They hold your hand when no one sees. They brush against your spirit in meditation, in sorrow, in joy. They are the quiet ones who walk without feet, but leave footprints on your heart. And here is the truth no one tells you. Even the ones who never come still leave behind the vibration of their love. They live in your art, your prayers, your sudden knowing. You may never meet them face to face, but one day, when your own soul leaves the body and the veil dissolves, you will feel them, and you will recognize their light as something that once hovered near you your whole life, whispering, "I was with you all along." This is what it means to be unborn and still matter, to never speak and still be heard, to never arrive and still transform the world. And if you're listening to this now, if something in you is trembling or remembering or breaking open, then one of them is with you. Right now. You are not imagining this. You never were. Their silence is not absence. It is a sacred offering. Their stillness is not inaction. It is devotion. They are the music that hasn't been played yet, the breath that hasn't been drawn, the love that has never had to ask for form. So the next time you feel a presence you cannot name, a warmth that comes without a source, a peace that comes just when you needed it, you'll know. You'll remember. And you'll whisper back across the veil, "I feel you too." Thank you for being here, for feeling deeply, for remembering the ones who never came, but never left. You are part of their journey, and they are part of yours.